I want to talk about malnutrition in India. They have 1.2 billion people, the second largest population in the world, second only to China. And there's 162 million children under the age of 5 in the world who are malnourished and are suffering from a lack of food. They're suffering less from a lack of food than poor sanitation. And this article in the New York Times in July of 2014 was kind of interesting. What they're saying is, even though they've given these third world countries electricity, they have really ramped up on the supply of wheat and potatoes. They can't understand why these kids are malnourished. Half of them are malnourished. Even though they're eating more, they have electricity, they're modern, and they're blaming it on poor sanitation. They are so far missing it. Well, first of all, when you use electricity, you're not using wood anymore, so you have no wood ashes, a.k.a. plant minerals, or plant minerals, a.k.a. wood ashes, to throw in the garden. So their mineral supply goes away. And these people are eating wheat. Oh, yeah, they have a gluten intolerance. And so these kids, half these kids in India, are suffering from these problems, and they're blaming it on the fact that they are defecating outside. They're pooping outside, right? They just don't have indoor plumbing. Well, I didn't have indoor plumbing. I seemed to survive it. And so let's look at malnutrition. The average lifespan of medical doctors, according to their own survey, came out in 1999, published in medical journals, was 56. Billionaires, according to Forbes magazine in 2004, had an average lifespan of 78. And in 2011, it dropped to 66. Athletes, their average lifespan, when you take professional athletes of all sports combined, is 62, except for football players, is 51. And the emerging third world cultures, you look at kids, these kids don't do well. They only live half the length of time. They're half the size. They're undernourished. And so forth, even though they're eating more food and have access to electricity. Well, electricity, of course, they're using electricity rather than wood, so they don't have access to their traditional sources of nutritional minerals. And then they're eating wheat, so they're not absorbing much because they have gluten intolerance. Or before they were eating rice and millet. Okay? So I want everybody to get a hold of that book, Immortality, which looks at the top 20 longevity cultures on Earth. And the top 20 longevity cultures on Earth, interestingly enough, are all third world cultures. They're illiterate. They have no doctors, no private or government insurance, no clinics, no hospitals. They have nothing that you would go to these places for, except they have 40 times 100-year-olds we do. They have 100-year-old per 250 of the population. We have 100-year-old per 10,000. They have 40 times 100-year-olds we do. Well, get a hold of the book Immortality. Get a hold of the book Epigenetics, The Death of the Genetic Theories of Disease Transmission. And, of course, it explains epigenetics. Epigenetics is the fact that you need raw materials to maximize the genetic potential for longevity and health for your genes, your DNA, and your RNA. It doesn't matter how good a genes you have. If you don't have the 90 essential nutrients to give them all the raw materials they need to maximize their potential, you're not going to get there from here. And then rare earth bin cures. This is when I started talking about this back in the 1970s. All this is in the book Rare Earth Bin Cures. And again, Immortality, the book Epigenetics, The Death of the Genetic Theories of Disease Transmission, talks about the raw materials, your genes, your DNA, and RNA needs to maximize your genetic potential for health and longevity. People forget about that. You only have potential. You're not going to get there from here unless you have all the raw materials necessary for your genes, your DNA, and RNA to reach their genetic potential for longevity, not genes working by themselves. They need raw materials. And doctors leave it out. Here's a front page story in the New York Times. They're saying these kids are getting more wheat and potatoes. They're getting electricity. All this stuff. They're moving into the modern times. And yet they're stunted in growth. They're like half the size of kids their age. They don't live as long. They're sick. They're miserable. And they blame it on the fact they're pooping outside. These doctors still believe germs cause everything, including insanity and cancer. They really missed it here. They identified the problem, but they took a left-hand turn and just missed it so badly. So if everybody takes in 90 essential nutrients, you're going to maximize your genetic potential for health and longevity. If you're not taking the 90 essential nutrients, you're just eating well, you're going to be like billionaires, you're going to be like doctors, you're going to be like professional athletes. You are going to be at the mercy of the throw of the dice on what nutrients might be or may not be in your foods. Why would you do that? Dog food has 100% of these 90 essential nutrients. Our babies, according to Food Chemistry, April 2012, have less than 20%. of the minerals and vitamins they need, and this was in food chemistry. They're talking about very well-respected baby formulas, Enfamil, Similac, and Gerber's. They have less than 20% of the minerals and vitamins they need, where dog food has 100%, chicken food has 100%, laboratory rats get 100%, sheep, cows, horse, pigs get 100%, and your babies and grandbabies get less than 20%. That's because medical doctors don't have any training, and these are doctor-formulated formulas, right? They don't have any nutritional training. They know how to do surgery sometimes do that badly. Sometimes they're sober, sometimes they're intoxicated on alcohol, drugs, and prescription drugs and street drugs. The medical system is a mess. And so grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, you're going to have to take over here. Give everybody in your family the 90 essential nutrients. Don't depend on eating well, because you can't get everything you need to make your genes, your DNA, and RNA happy. You can't make your genes and DNA and RNA happy just by eating well. You can't do it. You must supplement. Get a hold of the book Immortality, the book Epigenetics, The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. Rare has been cures, and you'll add 25 to 50 healthful years to your life and the life of your kids. Well, hang on. We'll be back with more truth, justice, and the longevity way on Dead Doctors Don't Lie after these messages. Okay, Doug, what pearls of wisdom do you have for us?
Well, this is one of those ones you just shake your head when you see this story. This actually was a Fox News story and comes out of the Philippines. And the headline reads, "Dead girl wakes up in coffin during her own funeral." This was a 3-year-old girl who had been pronounced dead after a severe fever, woke up a day later in a coffin during her own funeral ceremony. They say the police said the incredible incident, they confirmed it, after footage of the child seemingly rising from the dead at the church service went viral over the weekend. The toddler had been taken to a hospital earlier in the week, suffering from a severe fever. Clinic personnel and physician confirmed that the young patient had no more pulse and was clinically dead. And he said the only was discovered when a funeral attendee removed the cover to the girl's coffin and saw her move. The parents immediately gave the girl water and rushed her to a clinic, hopefully not the same clinic that had diagnosed her as dead. You just got to wonder, well, this physician that, I mean, you've studied dead, Doc. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out, is it?
No, it's not that hard to figure out. But I have to tell you, and you may remember, probably, 100 times a year in America, people are put in the morgue, the hospital morgue refrigerator or freezer, and the next day when they pull them out to either transfer them to the funeral home or to do an autopsy on them, they pull the covers off of them, and they wake up and say, "Oh, I'm so glad you found me. It was dark and cold in there, and I didn't know where I was at." It freaks everybody out because, and what did you say earlier? This is very good. You said the doctor who declared this baby dead must have what?
He must have been gone the day they were teaching dead. I mean, how hard is that? I mean, you check the pulse. I mean, obviously, if the child is very sick, the pulse could be very weak. But there's, did they put a stethoscope to her chest and see if her heart was beating? You should be able to pick that up with a stethoscope.
Well, of course. And, of course, usually bodies become very stiff. You get rigor mortis. And there's many, many signs of death, including lack of pulse,
doesn't that rigor mortis set in pretty quick, like within a few hours?
Yeah, within a few hours it'll start setting in, especially at room temperature. And you can almost tell when the person died by the state of rigor mortis and so forth. This is, there's a chart to determine all that. And this just really tells you how little doctors pay attention to details. Just remember, 52% of all medical doctors, and this is from Lucien Lepay from Harvard Medical School, the head of the Department of Public Health, 52% of licensed medical doctors in America, and I'm assuming in the Philippines maybe the same or worse, 52%. Remember, this study was done by the guy who's the head of the Department of Public Health at Harvard Medical School, Lucien Lepay, and he said that 52% of medical doctors are intoxicated either with alcohol, street drugs, or prescription drugs during their working day. And they make a lot of mistakes. It's just you have to give thanks to the Lord. If you're a religious person, you believe in God, you want to thank the Lord because nobody gave embalming fluid to that baby.
Yeah, really, that would have been disastrous.
That would have been disastrous. That would have been the end of that baby, of course. And because they were already in the funeral home, they were given the funeral services. So I'm amazed. Normally, they would give. There are certain religions that don't. There are certain religions that don't use embalming fluid, and they have to be buried within 24 hours of death and that sort of thing. And so I'm assuming that was the miracle, that it belonged to one of these religions that do not allow embalming fluid, and the bodies must be buried within 25 or 24 hours of being declared dead.
Well, also the fact that one of the attendees chose to open the cover and take a look and happened to see the baby move. Otherwise, they would have buried her alive.
Well, maybe the baby was crying, or
could
kicking
be.
the coffin.
They might have heard a noise.
There's some reason why they opened the coffin. I didn't want to find out what it was that made them open the coffin. Probably some noise in there. Well, thank you so much. Once again, you've shown some of the shortfalls in the medical system. So that's another reason why we have to take over. They're usually skipping class when they're teaching dead. We'll be back with Dead Doctors Don't Lie for these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to California. And Jackie, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Oh, Jackie, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Dr. Wallach. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. How can I help you?
Well, I'm calling because I've been on prednisone for over 3 decades, and my doctor discontinued cold turkey, and now I'm experiencing, I'm retaining fluid in my lower extremities.
Okay, well, first of all, let's back up. Why were you taking prednisone for 30 years?
At the start, was diagnosed with probable sarcoid. Since that time, pulmonary hypertension, which more recently has gotten out of control. The prednisone, I experienced skin eruptions over the years, and so the reason for staying on the prednisone was mainly to handle the skin eruptions. Which
okay, stop there. Okay, stop for a minute.
Sorry.
Okay, are we talking about like small boils, or like behind your ears and under your arms, or what are we talking about?
Just open ulcers, wounds on the leg especially.
Mm-hmm.
Couple on the face.
Okay, now let me ask you a couple more questions. Did you have any asthma or bronchitis?
At that time, no.
Before that or after that? Hello?
Yes, later developed bronchitis, but at the start, no.
Okay. Did you ever have any bowel problems? Constipation, diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome?
No.
Okay. Did you have your appendix out?
No.
Do you have any children?
No.
Okay. Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Do any of them have? Okay, a sister. Okay. Does she have her appendix out? Does she have any skin problems? Does she have any respiratory problems?
No.
She's perfectly healthy.
Yes.
I would doubt that. Okay. I'd ask her. She may be just not telling you, right? So I would ask her those things. But at any rate.
Now, I will say this. On occasion, she experienced constipation.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I'm looking for. Okay.
Okay.
I believe you ladies have what's called gluten intolerance. Okay. And this results in all kinds of stuff, okay, including skin eruptions, constipation, bowel problems, dry skin, asthma, bronchitis. Okay. And so even though you're maybe twins, one of you might have asthma, the other one will have constipation, but it's all the same problem. Okay? So I want you to hang on here, get your pen and paper ready, and we'll come back on, and Shar and I will help you out here. Stick with us, and Shar and I will be back with Jackie after these messages. Okay, Doug, we're going right back to California, and Jackie. Shar, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, now, Jackie, how much do you weigh?
310.
Okay, and how tall are you?
5'5".
Okay. All right. Do you have any other issues I need to know about? Any diabetes or arthritis or back problems?
No diabetes, no back problems. On oxygen.
Okay, so that's because of the pulmonary hypertension.
Right.
Do you have your blood pressure under control with medication?
It is with medication.
Okay. All right, Shar. What would you recommend ideally for Jackie, who's a big woman? She weighs 310 pounds. She has pulmonary hypertension, high blood pressure resulting from pulmonary artery problems, and she's got gluten intolerance. What would you recommend for her?
I would recommend that she takes 3 healthy start packs, and she needs to add the Ultimate Daily to that and get on a gluten-free diet.
Perfect. Yep, I would give her 3 healthy start packs. That's the most economical way to do it. You're exactly right. 3 healthy start packs. That would be 1 ounce of the Osteo FX Plus at breakfast and dinner, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine 2.0 NutriCrystals at breakfast and dinner and lunch. The breakfast, lunch, and dinner, ideally. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For both the 1 ounce of the OsteoFX Plus 3 times a day, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine 2.0 NutriCrystals at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I would go ahead and give her 12 of the Ultimate Daily tablets. That would be 2 bottles a month of the Ultimate Daily tablets. 12 of those a day, 4 at breakfast, 4 at lunch, 4 at dinner. And that's going to support and promote healthy blood pressure. It's going to support and promote healthy blood flow through obstructed arteries and arterioles, the microscopic arteries in the walls of the lung in between the little air sacs, which contributes significantly to this problem that she's having, why she needs to use oxygen, because the transfer of oxygen from the air sacs to the little arteries is obstructed because of the blocked arteries. And so we need to work on that. So 12 of the Ultimate Daily tablets a day, 4 at breakfast, 4 at lunch, 4 at dinner. And then I would also, because of the sarcoidosis, all that kind of stuff, I would give her 9 of the selenium a day, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner. That would be 3 bottles a month. And lastly, what would you do for an antioxidant for her, Shar? What would be your choice of antioxidants for Jackie?
Oh, boy.
Well, try a liquid.
Try a liquid?
Mm-hmm.
Well, antioxidant liquid, she could take, she could take the
how about Z?
Z radical, but...
There you go. A little hint there,
Z radical, but she could also, the other one she could take would be the Oxybody.
Oxybody would be good. Yeah, it'll give her some oxygen. Yeah, she could take 3 ounces of Oxybody a day. An ounce in the morning, an hour before breakfast, an ounce in the afternoon, an ounce before lunch, an ounce at dinner time, an ounce before dinner time. That'd be 3 quarts a month of the Oxybody. Stay away from all the bad stuff. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, and no gluten. No wheat, barley, rye, and oats. We'll be back with Dead Doctors Don't Lie for these messages.
Let's head to Austin, Texas, and Randy, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Oh, Randy, you're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Wallach. I was calling about a lady. She's 5'3", 180 pounds, 56 years old, and I guess her biggest complaint is she's got basal cell carcinoma. It's she's had a couple of episodes on her face that were removed, and she's got one now. And the other thing would be her blood pressure is slightly high at about 150/90.
Okay.
And wanted to find out what you'd recommend, and also if you could, maybe a budgetized version of it, if that's possible.
Sure. Okay. And all right. So, does she have anything else we need to know about? Any arthritis, back problems, diabetes?
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm 100% sure she has a gluten issue, which we discussed. Because she had been told by a doctor in 91 to stop eating wheat because she had bad stomach ache, and that stopped it.
Okay, very good. You're very smart. That is, in fact, if she gets a stomach ache and then she stopped eating gluten, the stomach ache goes away. Yep, she got a gluten problem. All right, and that can contribute to the weight and everything else too. So this is a Shar and Doc thing. Shar?
Yes.
Okay, here's a 180-pound lady, 5'3". I'd like to see her at 120, 125 pounds, so she needs to lose like 50, 60 pounds. And she has high blood pressure, gluten intolerance. Let's start there. We'll talk about the basal carcinoma in a minute. So let's start with the high blood pressure, gluten intolerance, and the body weight.
Well, she needs 2 healthy start packs.
Okay.
And she needs the ASAP for the losing weight.
Good.
And
what would you do for the blood pressure?
I would give her the Ultimate Daily.
Okay, perfect. So she has 2 healthy start packs. It would again be 1 ounce of the OsteoFX Plus at breakfast and dinner, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine 2.0 NutriCrystals at breakfast and dinner, and 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast and dinner. All that would be accomplished with the 2 healthy start packs. And then, for the high blood pressure, Char's correct. At 180 pounds, they give her 1 bottle of the Ultimate Daily tablets per month. That'll be 3 of the Ultimate Daily tablets at breakfast and 3 at dinner. And that's going to support healthy blood pressure. It's going to support and promote healthy blood flow through obstructed arteries. A gluten-free diet, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils. And is this lady fair-skinned, Randy?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, she's kind of blonde or light-haired and yeah.
sort of brownish.
Okay, so brown. Okay, brunette. Yeah, whenever you have basal cell carcinoma, this means that she's not making enough melanin and this could go along with the gluten to protect her skin from ultraviolet light and from the sun and all that kind of stuff. And so she needs to really kind of ramp up on the selenium. So at 180 pounds, with a history of 3 basal cell carcinomas, 2 she's already had removed, got another one now, I'd have her take a minimum of 6, better yet 9 of our selenium a day, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner. That'll be 3 bottles a month. And she's going to have this one taken off the same way she did the first 2, either by using liquid nitrogen. It'll pop, snapple, and crack, and it'll burn it off, or freeze it off, I guess you'd say. Or if it's small enough, it can be surgically removed. If it's on her face, I would use the liquid nitrogen as opposed to cutting on her. And you don't want to leave them, even though they don't go to your brain, your lungs, your heart, your liver. They don't metastasize it, but they do grow locally. They do grow by local growth, and I've seen people with half their face eaten off because they didn't do anything about the basal cell carcinoma. So you do not want to not do anything. You want to have her deal with it, but I would have her deal with it like she did the first time. But we have to change everything she's doing so that she doesn't get any more. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
All right, let's head to the Philippines. And Dale, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Dale, you're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Yes,
real quick, I'm just kind of curious about, is flour considered gluten?
Flour?
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about wheat flour?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, wheat flour is gluten. Absolutely.
I'm not sure if it's wheat
in any
flour.
form, whether it's white flour, whole grain flour, doesn't matter. There is enough gluten in there to cause problems. It's reduced, but it certainly has enough gluten in there to cause problems. There is no such thing as a gluten-free oats, although people say it's gluten-free. Well, that's because gluten in oats is called gliadin. And they say, well, there's no gluten in oats. Well, there's not gluten called gluten, but there's gluten called gliadin. So anybody who tries to sell you gluten-free oats should be put in jail for fraud, okay? We just don't like wheat, barley, rye. Well, you have a gluten intolerance, you got to give up wheat, barley, rye oats. In fact, I was in Dallas, Texas, at one of these big Texas steakhouses, and they were going to put a rub on my steak. I said, what's in that rub? Rubs make me nervous because, they're 10% spices and 90% wheat flour because spices are expensive. They said, it's just all spices. I said, I don't believe that. I want to see the recipe. So the cook comes out and he says, what do you want to see the recipe for? I said, well, we had 10 people at the table here and we're all gluten intolerant. He said, there's no gluten in there. I said, well, I'm going to see the recipe anyway. He says, well, we don't have a recipe. I make it myself. I said, well, tell me the ingredients. He says, well, the first ingredient is flour. And everybody at the table laughed because here's this chef who's supposed to know stuff about food. He didn't realize that wheat flour has gluten in it. So, yep, wheat flour is very dangerous for people who have gluten, and that includes beer, whiskey, things like bourbon, scotch, anything made from wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Bread, crackers, whiskey, beer, and you buy nuts. It'll say gluten-free, gluten-free. And you roll it over and it says, allergen information. These nuts have been packaged on equipment that also packages wheat products. You can't eat them because there's wheat dust in there. Now, Shar?
Yes.
Do you have a personal experience with gluten intolerance and flour and wheat and stuff? And briefly tell us your story about your skin problem.
I call it my scarlet letter on my forehead. I got a big patch on my forehead that turns bright red.
Now, this is between your left eyebrow and your hairline. It's bigger than a poker chip, but like a poker chip.
Almost like a silver dollar, almost.
Yeah, exactly. And how fast did it go away when you got on a gluten-free diet?
It went away, and if I accidentally get gluten, it comes back.
Yep. And so these things, even as hard as you work, you got to really work hard. Even things that are made out of rice, sometimes they package the rice products on equipment that also packages wheat products, and the dust in the rice cross-contaminates dog food. I have everybody listen to that CD called Serial Killers. Serial Killers is the CD. It goes into all the hidden places you're going to find wheat and wheat gluten. They use it as filler in pastrami and pepperoni and bologna and salami. They use it to thicken yogurt, of all things. So if yogurt doesn't say certified GF, meaning gluten-free, or gluten-free on it, don't eat it because the odds are it's got some gluten in it. Corn chips. Okay. Oh, they're corn chips. Yeah, read the label. Oh, yeah, they're 50% wheat by volume. Cornbread, 50% by wheat, so it doesn't fall apart into crumbs when you try to put butter on it. And these things are what's causing our problems in America. This wheat stuff, wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Even malts and shakes. They put barley malt in your shakes and malts. Barley malt, that'll get you. Okay, we'll be back with more Truth, Justice, and the Longevity Way after these messages. We're back with Dead Doctors Don't Lie on the ZBS Radio Network. Dr. Joel Wallach here for Longevity and 90 for Life Crusade. And Doug, let's go to callers.
All right, let's head to Iowa. And Randy, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Another Randy. Randy, you're on the air.
How are you?
Okay, sir. How can we help you?
Recently, I've been having trouble with breathing. Went in to see a pulmonary specialist. Did a CAT scan and found out that the part of my diaphragm over my left lung is paralyzed. And he's stating that it could be due to Bell's palsy or it could be due to nerve damage. And I was just kind of wondering what supplements or what vitamins I should start on in order to kind of help this situation heal itself.
Yeah. Now, did he talk about the recurrent nerve?
He did not, sir.
Okay. Well, the recurrent nerve is actually caused by a sister cranial nerve to the Bell's palsy, which is the 7th cranial nerve. I would be more inclined to think about the 10th cranial nerve, which is called the vagus nerve. It goes down along with your carotid artery down through your chest into the belly and deals a lot with your belly. But there's a branch that comes off inside your chest called the recurrent nerve, one on the right side, one on the left side, that controls your diaphragm. If your diaphragm is paralyzed on one side, I would bet that 10th cranial nerve is being squeezed as it comes out through the skull. Do you ever have any ringing in the ears?
I do not.
And no tone or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have any history of Bell's palsy?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have any history of pain in your face, like trigeminal neuralgia?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have any receding gums or dental problems?
I do have some receding gums, yes, sir.
Okay. So what you do have then is osteoporosis of the skull. You have any noisy joints? You squat down, you get poppy knees, or your shoulder clicks when you lift your arm up, anything like that?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So you have osteoporosis, you have some early arthritis, and this is causing your skull to get thicker. And the canals that these nerves come through, the cranial nerves, there's 12 pairs, 12 on each side, and number 10, again, runs down along with your carotid artery through your neck, through your chest, down in your belly, controls your stomach activity and intestines and so forth. But it also has those recurrent nerve branches that control your diaphragm. You ever get hiccups?
Once in a while, but not often.
Okay, yeah, that can be attributed to that same recurrent nerve.
Okay.
So at any rate, what I would do, what do you weigh, sir?
I weigh 220.
Okay. Okay, Char, what would you do with this fella? 220 pounds?
He needs 2 healthy bone and joint packs.
Okay, perfect. You get 100 there. Okay, 2 healthy bone and joint packs. It would be 1 ounce of the Osteo FX Plus at breakfast and dinner, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine Nutri-Crystals at breakfast and dinner, 3 of the EFA Pluses twice a day, 15 glucogel a day, 5 at breakfast, 5 at lunch, 5 at dinner, and this will support and promote maintenance and repair, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone matrix, and bone itself. I would take the CM cream that comes with that, and I would put that down in your ears like a half a teaspoon every morning when you wake up with a Q-tip, like you're trying to get wax out of your ears. But I would also take that CM cream and rub it on either side of your trachea on your neck, from your jaw down to where it goes into your chest. And I would put kind of like a fingerful of the CM cream on there, trying to release the inflammation on that nerve. I would also take our CM Plus capsules. Get 2 bottles of that a month of the CM Plus capsules. And I would take 3 of those at breakfast, 3 at dinner for sort of like a global anti-inflammatory stuff going on around your whole body, including your skull and the recurrent nerve down in your chest. And let's see if we can't wake that diaphragm up again. And that's kind of where I would go. And then give us a call every couple of, I'd say once a week, give us a call. And we'll tweak this as we need to, and I think we can help you there. But your doctor was probably right. You have something going on with the cranial nerve, but not the seventh cranial nerve, not the facial nerve, not Bell's palsy, but it's a squeezing of the 10th cranial nerve which will actually cause the diaphragm to be paralyzed. He's got to go back and learn his neuroanatomy. Okay, so give me a call every couple of weeks. Okay, how much time we have here, Doug?
We're done.
We're done. Well, I'll remind everybody about my new book, Epigenetics, right? Epigenetics, the death of the genetic theory of disease transmission. You want to get this book and realize and learn how you can supplement properly and give your genes, your DNA, and RNA all the raw materials they need to maximize your potential for health and longevity. Epigenetics, the death of the genetic theory of disease transmission. Okay, well, thank you, Shar. Super job as usual. Thank you so much, Doug and Richard. Superlative job as usual. God bless each and every one of you. God bless our troops. God bless our Navy SEALs. And God bless America.